name's Hannah Tasker. I'm down on my allotment this morning and I've got my 4 helpers with me.
Hello. Hello.
We've come to plant some Jerusalem artichokes and do some painting.
Hey.
So we've got the barrel here at the end of the pathway. We're going to fill it with some soil that we've brought from our garden at home because we're levelling our garden, and I've got some cardboard that we brought down to the plot to use as mulch, and also we've got some compost from our compost bin. This container started life as a blue water barrel. My husband Simon cut the barrel in half and then cut the top off for me too. I sanded the edges and painted with some multi-surface paint. The reason I'm planting my Jerusalem artichokes in a container is that this end of the plot floods in late winter, and these tubers are usually harvested between November and February. So by raising them off the ground in a container that's bottomless, they can have access to the ground below should they need it, but they're also a little bit protected from the flooding by being raised up off the floor. Jerusalem artichokes are a form of perennial sunflower. They actually have a lumpy brown skin tuber that looks very similar to ginger, and the tuber is the part that you eat. They produce lovely, beautiful sunflower-like flowers, and they grow 6 to 8 foot tall, sometimes taller. But it's the tubers that you're after, and you harvest the tubers after the first frost in November. They're native to North America and they tend to grow really well in any soil. You plant them 10 to 15 centimetres deep and 30 to 45 centimetres apart. You can eat them like a potato. They're delicious in soups. They can be eaten raw in salads and they taste a little bit like a water chestnut, but be warned, they do give you really bad wind, so watch out for that. There's been a few changes at the top end of the plot since the last video. We've used a compost bin to cover the old rhubarb plant. There is 3 new rhubarb plants further down, but the original rhubarb, which we planted last year, we're forcing, so the compost bin is just covering the top. We've got some spring bulbs coming through along the edge of this path and also across the edge of the other, just out of shot down there. The garlic is looking okay. It is yellowing at the tips, and I think that's due to moisture stress because the area's been so damp over winter. I think it's stressed the garlic out a little bit, but hopefully it should recover quite well. The herb bed is looking like it needs a good tidy up, but the rosemary is looking fantastic. We've got some chives coming through just next to it. And the angelica plant is just hiding behind the rosemary there, and that's come back to life. I wasn't really expecting it to, so that's brilliant. It just needs a bit of a tidy up. And a new change for this side of the plot. I've added a leaf mould cage at the side of my compost bins, and actually it's an old dog crate. I got the idea from Jessie at plot 37, and she's amazing. She's full of so much knowledge and information, so I'll leave the details of her channel below if you want to go have a look. As well as the rhubarb crown that we're forcing at the back of the plot under the compost bin, we also have 3 new rhubarb crowns that my family bought me for my birthday last year, and they are starting to show their first signs of life, which is exciting.
I love this time of year, with everything coming into bud and the promise of spring being just around the corner. The children have had an amazing time too. It's been a welcome break from homeschooling. They do like to get their hands dirty, and they made some balls of almost clay out of our soil, which shows just how clear our soil actually is. It's like modelling clay. They love it. These broccoli plants are doing well. The broccoli and the leeks are one of the only things we've got left in the garden at the moment. I want to change that next year, but this year this is all we've got left. A few have been nibbled by the pigeons, so I'll probably need to net the rest sharpish before the pigeons enjoy another meal.
So this is a new addition this year to the garden. I'm back at home at the moment in East Yorkshire, and last year when we when we first got the allotment, we didn't have a greenhouse. So we were just starting seedlings in the kitchen, and we had a summer house, but sadly the kitchen and the house was too warm and didn't get enough light really, and the summer house didn't keep the temperature overnight, and it didn't really get too warm during the day either. And because it only had windows to the front, all the seedlings that we started in there ended up getting a little bit leggy. I was forever turning them so they could have equal access to the sun, and they didn't really get the best start. So I'm hoping with this new addition we'll get off to a better start this year. So this is the inside of the greenhouse, and this is the staging that my husband built for me and I painted earlier on this week. We've not got too much growing at the moment, just because we've been homeschooling our 4 primary age children, and we've only recently heard that they'll be going back to school on the 8th of March, and I didn't want to put too many things in if I didn't have the time to then put them down at the allotment. So I haven't got too much started at the moment. I do have some sweet peas. Today I've just sown some kohlrabi and some kale. We've got some normal peas for shoots. We've got beetroot, spring onions, another tray of lettuce. We've got some more spring onions and bulb onions. At the bottom I've picked out 4 trays of lettuce. I've got some leeks, and probably my favourite thing at the moment, I can't wait to come through, is some Ranunculus, which we bought from Swan Cottage flowers, and I can't wait for them this year. Something else I'm really excited about this year is this. Now this is a perennial kale called Taunton Deane. You can't actually grow this from seeds, so it's got to be propagated from cuttings. We bought these about a week ago. They arrived a few days ago, and I've just potted them up in quite a big pot. Then I'm going to leave them somewhere cool that's a little bit protected from the wind, and hopefully they will take root. Now I've got 2 of these. One of these is going on my allotment plot, and the other is going on a charity plot that I'm helping out at this year. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how these grow. So I'm back now in the dining side of my kitchen, and this is the windowsill where we're growing our chilli plants. We sowed these on the 1st of February, and I haven't had any additional light or heat sources. I actually germinated them in a clay Perspex cupcake case. with its lid on to help retain some moisture. And they're doing really well. They're just about ready for pricking out. I'll just go through the varieties. So these ones coming through, these are habanero orange. There's no sign on the red habanero. These ones are just coming through. They're a sweet California, pretty standard bell pepper. These ones are my daughter Amy's. They're actually called Amy. They're also a sweet pepper. Anaheim. They're a hot pepper, hot chili pepper, pizza pepper. That was actually from there was a challenge last year with pizza peppers. These ones are lemon drop. I'm really excited about those ones actually. This one, only 1 out of the 5 seeds I sowed germinated, and this is a cayenne pepper. This one is a red cherry pepper. Hot pepper, chili pepper. These ones are the one variety of aubergine that we're growing, or eggplant. We've never really been a big fan of aubergines, but we've never grown them ourselves, so I'm hoping just by having one plant this year we can convince ourselves that they're nice. These ones are my daughter Lily's. They're golden bell peppers, another sweet pepper. Another chili pepper here. These are Hungarian hot wax. These ones are my daughter, my youngest daughter, and she's 5 years old, and she's growing the Frigatello sweet pepper. These ones are my son's. He's growing Thai dragon hot peppers. And last but not least is the jalapenos. So I'm up in my bedroom at the moment, and this is where we're chitting the seed potatoes, because this room has windows to 3 sides, or this section is like a bay window almost, and it has windows to 3 sides. I've actually got this curtain closed at the moment because it's too bright. But usually we chip the seed potatoes in egg boxes, but last year we rescued 4 chickens in September, and since September we haven't bought any eggs. We also hatched 3 of our own chickens last year, and they've just started laying 2 last month, so we're getting between 6 and 7 eggs a day, which is plenty for our family of 6. The other thing that I'm growing this year is orca. I've never grown these before. I've got 8 tubers from realseeds.com, and I'm really excited to give those a go. They're just on the windowsill at the moment too, with the potatoes. Now, potato variety wise, I've got 3 early varieties and 2 main crop varieties. The reason I've got 3 early varieties is because last year we had a lot of slug damage, so the earlies were fantastic, but the potatoes that stayed in the ground longer were a little bit decimated by our slug population. So this year for earlies, I have Pentland Javelin, which is a variety I grew last year, and they were delicious. They did really well in my soil, so they were on the list again this year. The second variety is International Kidney, which is technically Jersey Royals, but we're not in Jersey, so they're International Kidney potatoes. And the third earlies are the Rocket, the variety Rocket. For the main crop, I chose Picasso and Sarpo Mira, so I'm excited to get those in and see what they do. The other thing that I wanted to talk about in these videos is what kind of meals we'd been creating from our allotment produce. Now, last year was our first year on the allotment, and if I'm honest, I completely missed the second growing season, so we didn't have a lot of things in the ground over winter. This year I've got big plans to make sure that we have a lot more things in the ground. But we had a really good year. I really can't complain about how the year went last year. One thing that we did still have was a last squash plant, and we used that this month. I just caught it in time, it was just about to turn. So check your squash plants if you have any still in storage. And we made some delicious recipes that I have put over on my blog, awildtime.com. We made soups, we made pasties, but my favourite recipe with the squash was a beef, peanut butter and squash stew, which we served on a bed of rice with some leafy greens, and it was delicious. I wouldn't have put that combination together usually, but it was really nice and I can't wait to make it again next year. If you got this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a like if you liked it. If you'd like to see more tours, please subscribe. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next month. Bye.